Western Spring Television. Ours it is.
It's a beautiful month. It's a beautiful day, the second day in the month of October. Welcome to the 10th month, and we are super excited, though that, yes, you are part of the living, and all glory goes to the Most High God for preservation in all ramifications. Good morning once again. Welcome to Morning Spring, the very first edition in the month of October and for the week. This program runs between Monday and Friday. Welcome on board. And I'd like to welcome you on behalf of the entire transmission team for today. It promises to be exciting as always, and it's a bumper package. TUNDE is my name, at Irresistible TD on X. Welcome you on behalf of everybody. And my dear, I last saw you last month, Femi.
That's it, man.
It's good to be part of us, and thank God for God's preservation. Happy New Month to you, brother.
Happy New Month today. Happy New Month to Nigerians as well. And of course, the last time I saw you as well, just to put it there, was before Nigeria's 63rd independence. Now Nigeria is 63.
Yeah.
So congratulations to Nigerians as well. In many worship centers yesterday, prayers were offered for the nation. Celebration was made, maybe on a low key, even at the government level. Yeah, it was on a low key. The president had addressed the nation as well. So many things. Offshoots of that speech, matters arising. Nigerians are wishing. Some just want to know clarifications on the next agenda, labor-wise, to know the decision. There have been meetings and series of meetings, some dailies reporting that has been deadlocked, just keep meeting. It doesn't have to be once, but then tomorrow is the D-Day. So many persons will be anticipating what will happen. Will the strike, proposed strike go ahead or not? But then you still have hours before the October 3rd deadline set by the labor. Many things happen during the weekend as well. But then on this program, we look at critical matters, trending topical matters, issues of public importance. And but firstly, we look at the dailies, the major stories that have made its way to our Nigerian dailies for today. And we're at the other side of that, we then get talking. Femi Ojo is my name. I'm very happy to be here and to know that you are most distinguished viewers. You are there as well. Once again, good morning. It's going to be a very great day. We'll go on a short break right now, but before we do that, let's inform you that we are live on our YouTube channel. You can join us at Western Spring Television and on our social media handles as well, on X, on Facebook, and on Instagram. We'll go on a short break right now. When we'll come back, we go to the dailies, and then we kick it off from there. We'll be right back after this break. Please stay with us.
The British Empire was the largest and the most powerful in the world. At its zenith, the empire embraced a quarter of the Earth's land surface and imposed her imperial majesty's rule on more than 458 million peoples across nations and continents. The empire took off with overseas possessions and trading posts established by England, spread over 3 million kilometers between 16th and early 18th century. Like previous empires, the British Empire began to crumble on its weight of overstretched territories and growing unrest in our various colonies. Today, the British Empire no longer exists. What is in place is the Commonwealth of Nations, a loose association of sovereign states which recognize the King of England as the titular head. Western Spring Television identifies the British Empire as a watershed empire in history.
where is your go-to destination for quality content on TV. Stop the search and catch us live on Western Spring Television, channel 190 on Star Times. We take pride in delivering top-notch programs that keep you glued to your screen, from juicy entertainment gist to engaging current affairs programs, politics, exclusive news, sports, drama, gossip, music, and hey, your kids are not left out. These are available in English and Yoruba languages. Also get exclusive premieres, captivating documentaries, and thrilling live events only on Western Spring Television on Star Times channel 190. It's either you laugh, learn, giggle, dance, or shout on Western Spring Television. It's no boredom zone. We are value driven. So catch us live on Western Spring Television on Star Times channel 190. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram. You can also subscribe and live stream our programs on YouTube. Your television experience just got better. Western Spring Television. Ours it is.
Our economy, films, and music are well known throughout Africa. But when our wildlife is in crisis, it is bad for our reputation. We are losing our lions, elephants, and gorillas. But Nigeria can change that if we say no to illegal bushmeat and report wildlife crime. Because poaching steals from us all.
Sports is a culture on its own. It has its own language, its own people, with their own way of life. The world of sports is never void of actions, stories, dramas, and scandals. I guess you need a sports show that can walk the walk and talk the talk.
On this show, we answer all your sporting questions. The whens, the why.
All right, welcome back to the program Morning Spring right here from Western Spring Television. Just as FEMI stated before we went on that break, we'd like to let you know that on all our social media handles, we are live at Western Spring Television on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and X. You can check us out from all those handles. Let's get down to the business of the morning, taking things from the pages of the newspaper. The Punch newspaper is first, but first of all, I would like to welcome and say good morning to our in-house analyst who is here this beautiful morning. Mr. Ladiji Alabi, thank you for joining us and Happy New Month to you as well.
Happy New Month to you.
Thank you, Deji. You're welcome.
It's a pleasure to be here again.
Yeah.
Let's begin to check some of the headlines making the rounds from the Punch newspaper as I have it here. FGOK's allowance for senior staff. Labour may suspend strike. The writers associated to that story says wage award now for all cadre of workers, says Bajabia Miller. VAT on diesel waived for 6 months. FG increases allowance to 35,000 naira as Labour rejects 25,000 naira. OPS again warns against strike. This has taken quite a whole lot of toll on the economy, and Nigerians were really looking out, would this happen? Tentatively, Labour may suspend strike. Looking at the agreement between Labour and federal government yesterday, what do you make of that? And was this anticipated?
Well, let me just start by saying no agreement made yet. They are still in they are still in the process of negotiations, and we hope that things fall out well. Strike is not good for us at this time. You know, aside the fact that the government is going to be losing a lot of revenue. A lot of people, don't forget, when strikes like this happens, a lot of people in the hospital would also be affected. A lot of aspects of our economy will be affected. So it would be in the best interest of the nation, the people, even the government, that we do not go on this strike. Let the government and the labor, organized labor, TUC, OPS, all of them, let them find a place to stand on this. We know that the issue of fuel subsidy is biting hard on the citizens. Price of things has skyrocketed. we have the inflation inflation rising by the day.
Yeah.
We see all these things, they are obvious, but also, we must be able to handle this thing, nick them in the bud before we resort into, strike every now and then. It doesn't work well for us as a nation. Like I've been saying, we are not yet there. We are a developing nation. We can't keep losing money in the name of strike every now and then. So let the government show seriousness. Let the labor also understand. Let them see how we can move this nation forward. And I hope we have the best.
Looking at some of the agreements and dialogue negotiations that came up, as of yesterday morning, we heard that the federal government proposed a 25,000 naira for junior workers, but Labour have actually rejected that and says, look, what we want is 35,000 naira, and not just for junior workers, it's going to every cadre of workers at the federal level. What do you make of that? 35,000 additional?
Well, even if you had 50,000 naira at this rate, it still doesn't amount to anything. That's the reality. The reality of things in town now shows even if you earn, if the lowest earner in Nigeria takes home 150,000 naira, it doesn't still make any difference. See, for me, the best way out of this is having a working economy. All these are just solutions in the interim. If we cannot sustain this, are we not going to come back to this same drawing board? So why don't we make the economy work? Why don't we find a means of, making the local market work for people? I was discussing with some friends on Friday, and I said, see, first solution to our many problems is for us to look for a means of feeding ourselves. We have a lot of land mass that are useless, ungoverned lands that we need to make use of. Imagine if we can harness those lands and feed ourselves. If food is taken out of the problems of Nigerians, I can tell you the bulk of the problem has been solved. So why don't we look into that? Why don't we see how we can help local manufacturers? How are we not looking at means of saying, okay, so the price of getting a Nigerian made car is cheaper compared to you bringing in a car? That's the way to develop your economy. I do tell people, a few years ago, you are not proud of using a China phone. You are not proud of it because if it rings here, you can be hearing it in about 2 kilometers away from you. But now, gradually, because of their own population, they use their population to do what? To improve on what they are producing. And today, you can mention that phone that do not have their office in China that makes. So I feel we need to think about building our economy. All these 10,000 naira. Now, don't forget also, we've had conversation about 8,000 naira cash to people. We had it in Buhari regimes. All this will not solve our problem.
Let's move on because of the want of time quickly. And there you have the picture of members of staff of the presidency, the president himself, the vice president, the Senate presidents, CJ, and all of them. They're cutting the anniversary cake, 63rd anniversary cake, and we say congratulations to Nigeria. Below that, you have this story, Independence Day. APC berates PDP as opposition falls Tinubu's speech. 1 died, 7 injured in Lagos-Ibadan expressway crash. That's on the red strip of the Punch newspaper for today. No plea bargain agreement with Emefiele, says AGF. That was one story that flew to the media, to the airspace yesterday, and there's a plea bargain, a 50 billion naira plea bargain. And I looked at it, but the AGF, from the office of the AGF, they clarified that there isn't such an agreement. But by and large, 50 billion naira isn't chicken change if you have to. But do you foresee something like that between Emefiele and the federal government?
It's even laughable that a CBN governor, a former now, we can call him a former CBN governor, the federal government allegedly, like word of FEMI and some other journalists will say, allegedly, talking about 50 billion naira plea bargain. Where did he get that money from?
From an individual.
Where is that money coming from? What is his, including his allowances, including everything, all his years as the CBN governor? He shouldn't be able to raise such an amount of money legitimately. So if we are talking about 50 billion naira play bargain, I think we are just set up on serious people. If we truly want to, well, it's fine. The AGF has said, no, there's nothing like that.
All right.
But I hope, because it has become a reality in Nigeria that everything government comes out to deny, something near the truth is around that. Don't forget also that the way the government has handled these Emefiele issues has not really been seen to be too well. We've appointed another CBN governor, and people are asking, where is the resignation letter of the former Emefiele? So all this play bargain, I hope it is not true. Because if it is, then the world just sells
somebody that is sacked or that was sacked couldn't have written the resignation.
Another pointer to that says the president cannot just sack the CBN governor.
Yeah,
that it takes a process, you know. But the government and
the
National Assembly,
he was suspended.
So
an acting CBN governor
was put in place
in acting capacity. So I think
he would act in 100 days, and after which.
Don't forget, there have been some persons who have acted in like 5 years before.
Of course, yes. It is Nigeria.
Magu's case comes to case.
Of course, yes.
Let's go ahead. Thank you.
Other stories still making the rounds on the top strip of the Punch newspaper for today. Chicago academic record. Tinubu lawyers kick as court orders release. I wonder why this has generated so much controversy. If I actually attended the University of Ibadan or Obafemi Awolowo University, and my chairman say, look, I need to see your, it's a simple, to go and be, but why is it developing quite a whole lot of Bola Blue or hooray concerning this certificate issue?
Well, it's sad. And it's sad. When I say it's sad, I mean that we have to keep washing our dirty linens out there in the face of the world. Don't forget, this will not be the first time we're having issues.
When you say we, how do you mean?
We, as a nation, because see, most times as an international relation, student, I understand that there is something we call national image. Whatever they view about Nigeria, they view about you and I. So when you get to the port of entry of another country, they don't see FEMI, they don't see TUNDE, they don't see
Nigeria.
They see this is a Nigerian. So they want to address you, they want to, deal with you with the mindset they have with Nigerians. So that's why I said we. So we don't have to go that route again. Don't forget, President Buhari, we also had this issue. If a lot of people said, no, it doesn't matter, even if it is NEPA bill, let him be our president. But I feel, and over and over again, people have said, see, the worst of us should not be leading the best of us. It shouldn't be anybody's headache. My primary school, I went to this social school. Secondary school, I went to this social school. University, I went to this social school. So if anybody is asking for my record, I mentioned it last week. Femi, if you need my academic record, freely, I will approach my school, pay for transcript. Please send it to this social address. So as to make people, let's put this issue to rest once and for all. Enough of all this back and forth.
But do you think this is a distraction to the nation?
That's why I support a lot of people that said, see, let us complete every electoral process before swearing in. The moment a president is sworn in, let's know we are facing governance. Because a lot of them use this as an excuse. Oh no, we use the first year to fight with the opposition. We use this. That is why we don't have serious governance in Nigeria. I think it's in Rwanda where, before the president was sworn in, the Supreme Court has delivered a judgment that, see, the election that brought you in is not legit, is not, and they rectified all those things. Because the moment you make the person the president, he becomes the commander-in-chief of the armed forces. It means he controls everything. Now, so are you telling me I'm controlling everything and you want one of the things that I control to work against me? And don't forget, in Nigeria,
but that's why we have institutions who should not defer to an individual.
I'm going there now. The issue with us is that we are not building our institutions, we are building individuals. Now, in other countries, in other climes, institutions are more powerful than individuals, irrespective of who you are. Look at Brazil. Former president has been, taken to court several times. Yeah. Even in the United States, the former president, Donald Trump, was taken to court. But in Nigeria, no. We give them immunity while they are in power, but even after power, we turn them to God. So I feel we need to get serious as a nation. All these distractions are not needed. Let's put this issue of certificate or no certificate to rest once and for all. And, it's just a matter of time. We are about 6 hours or thereabout ahead of the United States. Before this evening, we should see the true pictures of things.
Yeah. FG issues first wholesale gas supply license under PIA. And last but not the least, the devaluation. Government, banks make 2.2 trillion naira. Manufacturers lose 495 billion naira. That'll be all from the pages of the Punch newspaper for today.
We go straight right to the Nigerian Tribune. The Nigerian Tribune for today. FG changes gear, says 35,000 naira now for all its workers. Federal government changes gear, says 35,000 naira now for all its workers, with riders to waive VAT on diesel for 6 months, to pay 75,000 naira to 15 million households at 35,000 naira per month from October to December. Sanwo-Olu pledges to resolve RTEAN and URW crisis in Lagos. Labour to meet federal government today after consultations with members. AGF denies signing 50 billion naira plea bargain with Emefiele. Lagos government seals 8 eateries for environmental infractions. Customs arrest shipping agent who plan to export elephant ivories, pangolin scales, others. Of course, you have a picture taken at the commemoration of Nigeria's independence there with the top echelons. You see the president, his vice, the Speaker of the House of Reps, the Senate President, that's the #1 man, the judiciary, the CGN, and of course the chief of protocol to the president there. That's on the front page of the Nigerian Tribune. And Delta tanker explosion. FRSC confirms 8 deaths, 8 buses, 5 trailers. Wow. 2 tankers burned. And Ondo impeachment saga. Search for Akeredolu's new deputy begins. Wow. Just like that. Edema, Tawoshe, Akirunto, Olawole, top on that list. And court orders Chicago University to release Tinubu's academic records to Atiku. Independence of American judiciary cost Tinubu's defeat in U.S. court. Atiku's aide replies, Ogala. That's it on the Tribune. But DG, I think some of the highlights of what we are seeing labor-wise, to waive VAT, federal government changes gear, says 35,000 naira for all his workers, to waive VAT on diesel for 6 months. But my take that I'm going to be bringing you on is to pay 75,000 naira to 15 million households at 35,000 naira per month from October to December.
I have issues with that.
Way to go?
Not the way to go.
How do you
I've mentioned it earlier.
Yeah.
We cannot solve our problems with this, cash. We had it during Buhari's regime. Where did it take us to? Nowhere.
But this has a time frame, October to December.
We had the same
and it's
thing.
Called palliative.
It was even 4 months or thereabout during Buhari's regime. As a matter of fact, even in that regime also, we had the issue of during COVID-19. Don't forget, the Minister of Humanitarian Affairs said they were feeding school children. They spent billions of naira feeding school children that were at home with their parents. See, this is just another means for the boys to eat. Like I've mentioned, you can't. Okay, so how do we measure the people we want to give out the cash to? How do we measure? Do we have a list of the poorest of the poor? It's just a means for some people to become richer. That's the reality.
You don't say government being sincere with us?
It's not about government being sincere here. You remember last week we talked about government loan. Some people see, as a matter of fact, some people would even tell you they've sent those money out as loan. But the reality is those money are somewhere with some people. You know, we've seen situation where...
But that policy has not even started, by the way.
Of course, we've seen situation in this country where, snake has swallowed money. You see, and nothing is impossible in Nigeria. So for me, 35,000 naira to 15 million household is not the way to go. But let us make the economy work.
But in the interim, this is a palliative matter.
I ask you, show me the list. How did we arrive about the list? Who are the people who want to give the money?
I think Mrs. Better will be in that position because she's the minister. But what I'm saying is this: are we not just pessimistic in nature that every good intention of the government, let's just give them that benefit of that, even if they have good intention, we will always second guess?
Well, Femi, let me ask you this question. Between 1999 and today, at least you witnessed change of government from Obasanjo to Yar'Adua to Jonathan to Buhari, then to Tinubu. Tell me, in sincerity, those good intentions of government that they follow to the letter, if not that they have something to benefit. I'm not being pessimistic here, but it is the trajectory of something that we've witnessed over the years.
All right.
So, see, that I have been mentioning, our government need to show sincerity. In fairness, Nigerians, for me, are the most easiest people to lead.
You think so?
In not sincerity. Nigerians.
Okay.
Put things in order. Let our agencies, let our institutions work. Nigerians will form in line.
All right. All right. And that will be all from the front page of the Nigerian Tribune for today.
All right, quickly, I'll check out other stories making it around from Daily Times newspaper. Daily Times is what I have next here. My Times with the late Saldana of Sokoto by his driver. He speaks exclusively to the Daily Times newspaper there. And just below that, you have indefinite strike after FG labor talks. Today is decision day. Okay. We just hope the decision will be beneficial. Unlike now, my husband, a rep for 10 years without own house. That's credited to wife of independence era lawmaker. And Nigerians were better off under British rule. Journalists who witnessed 1st October 1960. Do you believe in that? We are scripted that. Nigerians were better off under British rule 63 years ago.
Well, we read it in history.
That what?
That, even then in schools, they are a woman in my church said it one day that when she was in school, government school then, that the whites dare not see you take gari alone. You must add milk to it. And at the time we had that, even at Obafemi Awolowo University, students eat a full chicken. But as a family man, Sunday, when last did you eat chicken? So I'm not trying to say, but I think it's just sad that we are using 63 years ago to compare to today. We are meant to be better off. And don't forget, Nigeria, Indonesia, Singapore, Japan, at that time were looked at as the new countries, that would, become the powers, blossom and become economic powers of the world. But what do we have today? We have actually gone back, way back. Look at Japan today. Talk about electronics. They are there. Look at Singapore. Look at Indonesia. Look at the Asian Tigers countries. They are doing very well for themselves. So I don't want to, because I wasn't here in 1960. I think maybe people like Femi would be able to share, and Tilly, of course, yes, with your white, gray hairs, you'll be able to share with us your experience then. But I feel with the little we have seen in the few years that we have been around also, I think we are just using, years to appreciate years.
All right.
Just like Yoruba people will put it.
Sadly.
I hope we will get there. 3 killed in Koko community as tanker burned. Wow. On the bottom strip of the same Delhi, PDP Youth Party take Tinubu to the cleaners over Independence Day broadcast. Other stories still, but on the top strip, huge gains for Nigeria as Keyamo visits ICAO CAE. That's somewhere in the US, I think. If you're interested in that, you can check out full details from the pages of the Daily Times for this morning. It is very, very worth reading at this moment in time. All right, Fem?
Right to this day, newspaper, this day for today, and that will be the last paper for today, for this morning rather, on the session. After meeting with federal government, Labour calls emergency NEC to reconsider planned nationwide strike. That's what this day newspaper is reporting. With riders, Tinubu announces 35,000 naira provisional wage increment for all federal workers. Labour's request for higher wage to be presented to President for further consideration. Right, and just above that, Soludo renames Anambra Airport after literary icon Chinua Achebe, I think, and Tinubu leads Shatima, others to mark Nigeria's 63rd independence anniversary. Governors optimistic about the nation's future. Another rider, country doesn't need to suffer current hardship, says PDP. You have the picture of the First Lady there, or $10 visit First Lady. That's the billionaire, Femi Otedola, businessman visiting Nigeria's First Lady, Oluremi Tinubu. At the top strip, U.S. court set to release Tinubu's academic records today, gives CSU 12 p.m. deadline to comply, sets expedited schedule for discovery. The position of varsity designee must be completed by 5 p.m. tomorrow. There are timelines for these now. All right, and BUA slashes cement to 3,500. I promise further reduction next year. But Deji, just before we leave this segment, Soludo renames Anambra Airport after literary icon Chinua Achebe. Worth it?
Well, yes, absolutely. I agree. A good development, if you ask me, Femi. We need to celebrate our own people. We need to celebrate people that have actually lived and left marks behind for us to celebrate. We have them all over the country, from the southwest, southeast, south, north, everywhere in the country. We have them. Let us celebrate our own people. Do you know that even sometimes in Nigeria we celebrate foreigners and our own people? We have a lot of places named after Nelson Mandela in Nigeria, but we have some of our icons that we've not named anything about. So for me, Governor Soludo has done well. Chinua Achebe, a literary icon that forever, even children unborn will still have access to his works. You know, so it's a thumb up for me to Governor Soludo for this.
All right.
All right, that will be all from this segment. We'd like to thank Mr. Ladiji Alabi for being here with us. Thank you most sincerely for your insightful analysis.
It's a pleasure to be here, and hopefully, you know, the anniversary cake after this.
Okay. All right. We have some cakes on all the days.
No, Femi,
you have access already.
Femi, he knows where to go to.
Okay. All right.
He's in charge, or he knows what to do. When we come back after this short break, Nigeria at 63. Quite a whole lot to deliberate about. What has been the pains? What has been the gains that Nigeria has recorded? What's the way forward? And so many things to discuss. It's still Morning Spring coming to you live from Western Spring Television. Please stay with us. We'll be right back.
Arrested, affected, sound, found. What do we see? What do we say? Flowing from a spring. A fact A to Z. Check and confirm. Ever expounding current events. Traveling down from the business gist to the globally arising happenings, to the sports news, to the bittersweet infos. Guided transmission, even diffusion, vast and fast, detailed facts are fled. Within seconds, nuggets of words that flew across borders are fired. Stories short and long, wrapped in bundles of words, broken and dissected as it is, except misheard. This is the news as it is.
Evelyn Ohiole,
Hi.
King Eve. How are you today?
I'm good, I'm fine, I'm alive.
I really feel like she's not giving the right answer to the question. When one asks you, how are you? And you said, you're saying, I'm alive. It's very annoying, seriously. How are you? I'm fine. I feel I'm fine would be the right answer instead of I'm alive. Not that I asked you if you're dead before.
Go and check all these 14-year-old, 15-year-old, 16-year-old, everybody, they are extraordinarily sexually active.
I feel is being unnecessarily hyper when it comes to the issue of sex, because we talk about other topics and it feels so reserved. It really doesn't have anything much to say when it comes to other stuff. But when it's the issue of sex, I believe it's being unnecessarily hyper. That's when I have to pick an issue with him. I mean, it's just been unnecessarily there when we're talking about sex. Just like a child, his mom just got him his favorite chocolate or ice cream, very happy, doing as though if he doesn't have sex for a day, he's going to die.
When it comes to finance, women also support their husbands financially. You need me emotionally. You need me spiritually.
Cassie is an amazing person, but I hate the too much attaché to that gender. I need you spiritually, I need you mentally. I can get these things anywhere with money. If you go by the topic was, who does marriage favors the most? I know how many jobless women they marry every Saturday. They are saying it favors you, Are they vague so?
Growing up, when I was in the world, we've heard of
Who are you now?
Well, MC Too Much said, he likes saying when I was in the world. And the last time I checked, well, it looks a bit innocent, facially, but deep down, he's actually out of this world. We're all in the world now. As long as you're alive, you're in the world. So, MC Too Much, I beg you to talk about that. I don't want to hear that. Next time you talk about I kiss my words.
I think they have a problem with you saying ladies are champion, and that's the problem. Always trying to attach so much importance to that gender.
It's giving insecurity, it's giving low self-esteem, it's giving a blatant display of egoism. Because at the end of the day, a man who is secured in his words, a man who is confident of who he is, will not really be disturbed as to whether women are being referred to as champions or not. I mean, at the end of the day, Joseph's a really great guy, but whether he likes it or not, women are champions.
Here are 5 amazing fun facts I bet you never knew about Christianity.
Number 1, there are over 2.4 billion Christians worldwide.
Amazing fun fact number 2. The Bible is one of the best-selling books of all time, with more than 100 million copies sold every year.
Most Christians believe in heaven and hell.
The Bible is the most translated book in the world, with more than 3,000 languages.
Amazing fun fact number 5. Most Christians throw science out of the window without realizing that most scientists are Christians. Hello, I am Pastor Steve Akinwumi.
And I am Dr. Adeoye Oyewole.
Join us as we highlight and discuss day-to-day issues pertaining to the day-to-day living of every Christian.
Issues in Christendom shows every Sunday on Western Spring Television, channel 190, only on StarTimes.
Turn it up! It's the Wild Wild West, and Western Spring Television is pulling out all the stops to make sure that you don't miss out on every of the fun and happenings around you. Yup, we've got you covered because your girl got all the juiciest tidbits and entertainment news from around the world. Cross over to the chocolatey side of entertainment. Join me, Chocolate Cassie, on Eccentric as we take you into every bit of the juiciest news, fashion, music, movie updates, and other trending conversations. Together on the show, we'll get personal with your favorite celebrities via phone call, Zoom, or even live here in the studio. Eccentric will be shown on your TV screen on Western Spring Television, channel 190, only on StarTimes.
Dramatist, playwright, and icon of Yoruba thematic arts, Duro Ladipo was born December 18, 1931 in Oshogbo, southwest Nigeria. His clergyman father christened him Timothy. His other names, Duro Dola, Duro Shomo, Duro Rike, reflected his personal and the circumstances that surrounded his birth. The legendary stage actor had in several public fora identified himself as one of the greatest abikus born to die in this world. Family records reveal how he was born and died 13 times. The intertwining names he bore thus lent credence to his spiritism. Duro.
We have embarked on a several sectoral reform to stabilize the economy, direct physical and monetary policy to fight inflation, encourage production, ensure the security of lives and property, and lend more support to the poor and the vulnerable. Based upon our talks with labor, business, and other stakeholders, we are introducing a provisional wage award increment to enhance the federal minimum wage without causing undue inflation. For the next 6 months, the average low-grade worker shall receive an additional 25,000 naira per month. To ensure better grassroots development, we set up an infrastructure support fund for states to invest in critical areas. States have already received funds to provide relief packages against the impact of rising food and other prices. Making the economy more robust by lowering transport costs shall be key. In this regard, we have opened a new chapter in public transportation through the development of cheaper, safer, compressed natural gas, CNG, buses across the nation. These buses will operate at a fraction of current fuel prices, positively affecting transport fare. The new CNG conversion schemes will start coming in very soon, as all hands are on deck to fast-track the usual lengthy procurement process.
All right, you're welcome back. And right now we get into the conversation properly. That was an excerpt of a soundbite of the Independence Day speech by the President Tinubu at Nigeria 63, reeling out some of what his administration has been able to achieve so far, the promise that Nigeria holds, and he addressed critically, in which you've just listened to, some labor-related matters, some really related matters, and it has to do about what the mood of the town, the labor expectations, the proposed strike, and everything. Some of their demands, and some of what the government is offering, especially palliative-wise, some updates to what is on ground. You will remember that the government talked about released some trailers of grains and rice distributed to the state, a promise of 5 billion, in which 2 billion has been said to have been released to all the states. So the government, through the president, in that speech was talking about what he has in plans, more for the people as well. Let me bring you back and welcome into the house, in the studio, two gentlemen here on the matter. Comrade Waheed Saka is there. He's a comrade. What's a comrade? Always a comrade. That's here. Yeah.
Good morning.
Good morning, comrade.
You are very much welcome, and he's a core labor person to. Okay, I take you to Mr. Lanre Fadahunsi, the policy analyst. Good to have you again, sir.
Good morning, Pluto. Good to be here with you.
And of course, happy Independence Day. So maybe that's why Comrade is done in a shade of what looks like grey.
Still celebrating Nigeria 63. Thank you.
Nigeria 63. Okay, here we go, gentlemen. The president has spoken in that speech, but then purely take it from the labor angle. The NLC are threatening, in a manner of speaking, fire and brimstone. They are good to go for the proposed strike. If you check through details, many stories, some conflicting stories have been given. Some saying that there are the meetings that have been deadlocked. Labor calls for emergency next meeting to reconsider. You see some saying possibly Labour has had a compromise on the matter. Many things being seen today from the daily as well. But as it stands today, the government are saying this is our position. The president spoke yesterday on the matter to say on the palliative issue, which is part of Labour's demand, to say we are doing this and this and this. But then the day is tomorrow. In all of this, what do you think is the issue that we are dealing with as far as Labour is concerned? I will start with Comrade Waheed Saka.
Well, the issue we are dealing with is not about the Labour alone. Okay. It's about the people of Nigeria facing a lot of pains and pans occasioned by the blanket and the policy that they didn't thought through before the president came out to say we are removing subsidy. And the unfortunate part is that you remove subsidy and you are giving the same money to government at every level to share. So if you know you want to share it, considering the fact that we don't have history of trust, of sharing money or whatever. So is it not better you stay on the issue of subsidy rather than giving the selective few to go and share money? If not because of governor of Borno State, we will not even know how much they give states of the federation. 5 billion each. He came out to say, hey, they gave us 5 billion each. But to date, a lot of people are saying, like Oshoya also said, they receive only 2 billion out of 5 billion. And we don't even know what they are doing with it. Because some of us are not advocates of subsidy removal. Like, it's one thing that I would never accept is to say you don't subsidize anything for Nigeria. What are we benefiting from government? You understand? But consistently... So,
ab initio, you thought the subsidy should have remained?
Yeah, for me.
Even when it's being touted to be a sham.
What is a sham?
A fraud.
So what is it? The real sham is the sharing of money to government when you know they cannot be trusted enough to share to those who truly need the money. You know, some of the palliative sharing across the state are even, they share it in the house of political leaders.
Was that the case?
Yes. Even here in Australia. They share it, they said that because the local government is not good enough to store material, they now dump it in one of their political leaders' house to share. So
but in the committee, sorry, if I may just interrogate that option part, in the committee, we have different persons that was constituted.
Don't even go to that issue of committee. Also never considered any committee.
But they did.
You see, they only have two known people. One from Muslim community and the other one from Khan, which they are always part of government in power. Every government in power, Khan and Muslim community in Australia has always been part of them. So where is the committee? You are saying you have people that are working with you. Are we only having two religions in Australia? Where are the interests? Other interests. So there are issues around that of Australia committee issue. When you want to constitute a committee, you announce to the public that we are constituting this local committee, and these are members. What they did is to organize a press conference, and those two will speak on behalf of government, and that's all. So we understand that game in Australia. But leave that. The current arrangement, I wish Labour followed this through. You understand? I don't trust them. I don't trust Ajaero leadership. I've always saying that.
Arrangement?
This current issue, NLC with
TUC.
federal government, I wish they follow it through. You understand? To a logical end. The consistency in successive government since independence that they have been treating our people need to stop. You understand? It's unfortunate that when Buhari want to leave, the spokesperson said we even celebrate Buhari when they are long gone. It's not even some month after some people are already celebrating Buhari. So which shows something is wrong with us fundamentally. You understand? So at this level, I wish they follow it through, but I don't even trust any of them to actually stand their ground when the chips are down.
All right. Yeah. So, Mr. Fadahunsi, same question. Nigeria Labour Congress, the organized labor rather, Nigerian government, the president has spoken on the matter. These are the things we have promised. These are the things we have done before. Palliatives, rice, trailers, promise of CNG powered buses, 5 billion naira promise, 2 billion has been released. And now yesterday, he gave an update on what he's intending to do. But Nigerians are just in the middle. And with the threat of a strike happening tomorrow, where are we?
Now, the president made a promise on the 1st of October. The president made a pronouncement on the 29th of May. Between 29th of May and 1st of October, count the months. How have people survived on account of your statement on that day? Now you are saying you want to do, and you are still saying soon. When is soon? The reason why we had this issue is because when you decided you are going to remove subsidy, you did not have contingent plans in place. So you have to start thinking it through what we are now going to do, and people have suffered. The following day, after that pronouncement, of course, all the pumps, even without saying you cannot change your price because what you have is old stock. No, nobody went to say that. And the filling stations immediately agreed and moved on. And Okada riders, they are not waiting for palliatives to change their own price. So people who went to work with 200 naira now had to look for 800 naira to go to work, and they have been doing that for 4 months. They are not prepared. That is the truth. And so on the 1st of October, that insult came again. It's an insult on the Nigerian citizenship.
That speech?
Yes. Let me tell you something. We were saying we had issues, and we went on the jamboree to New York. Who are the people that were required to be in New York? The president was to speak, yes. His foreign minister, maybe. Many governors went. Many governors' wives went. And it was like they just placed the nation on when we had all these issues of suffering by the people. How serious do you want people to even take us outside? That's the truth. When I saw some of the clips of what happened, the governor's wife, Osun State governor's wife, went to market Osun events and stuff for tourism and the rest. Fine. I mean, that's like saying, let's not waste this as a jamboree. Let's look for people who can come. Well, whether they will come is another thing, but at least somebody took an initiative to. The president's wife was there, went with a lot of governors' wives to go and do their own activity. And you are telling Nigerians, all you can think at this moment is to have 25,000.
But Mr. Fadahunsi, looking at that, those who went to the UNGA, United Nations General Assembly, I know before they actually went, Mr. President has said, if you don't have a business going to New York, don't you think those are when we him had
that's what I'm saying. That you see, there's a disconnect between what you say and what we see. Go and check. Go and check the type of people who went. Of course, the president. I don't even think the president's wife traveled with him, because on arrival she arrived in New York on her own and her team. We cannot continue this way in a nation. I'll tell you frankly. If you pass some homes of highly placed people and dogs are barking in their compound, those dogs feed like 150,000 a month. Dogs in their homes. And you're now saying for human beings, in a nation that has oil, that you people are the beneficiaries of the oil because that is what they feed on. You can't feed on our flesh and you want people to look at you. You are Nigerians, you don't have two heads. I will now tell you there is a deliberate thing they have been doing. They want to replace us by saying, okay, get the facts and dates of history, but leave out the events. Where did they start from? In Nigeria, we knew the nobles, we knew the rich, we knew those who are in government as government people. And you can trace the history of all these people. Look at Herbert Macaulay was born in 1864. He went to primary school in Bedford. We had history of what they have done. All of these people, there's a way they grew up that we can track their history. Macaulay was an architect, an engineer. He studied music, and all of these things are things that drove what he was thinking about a new Nigeria. Then there was no Nigeria. They were planning to get that freedom. So those who fought this history for us to have it, I'm telling you, when the likes of us can say things that look strange and historic to our young people, then that's unfair. I went to school, we enjoyed bursary. I went to school, we had meal. I think the person that left the studio now, chicken, like 3-4 times on 50 kobo meal. That was subsidy. We didn't care whose children were rich, but we had our own fair share of the wealth of the nation. Where do you want Nigerians to say, look, it's deliberate. All these attempts, what's the difference between the Buhari administration and the one we have now? We have 59 million Nigerians who have bank accounts. BVN, not even bank accounts. You can have 6 bank accounts. It's linked to one BVN. So if you say 59 million Nigerians have bank accounts, the issue of your pronouncement has affected all Nigerians. Whether you go by public transportation or you go by your own private transportation, but you see, we disconnect from history, like I said. If you are a junior cadre officer and you want to get loan for mobility, they give you motorcycle loan because that's what your grade level can take. If you are a senior officer, the mid-level, when you take car loan, you can buy a Beetle, brand new, not Tokumbo, as a Nigerian worker. Because you have to, and most of the people in government now enjoyed some of these things. You graduate from school, you get a job, and when you get a job, the first thing is you fill the form of your car loan that you pay back in 4 years from your salary. It is not Tokumbo, it's brand new B2. When you get to the higher level, you can think of the 504. When you go higher, you think of 505 evolution where you are the pickup. But all of a sudden, some people just came around without a history, without a record, and distorted everything. Okay. To disadvantage. So when I begin to wonder, how do you want to justify this? Somebody is earning 7 million because he's a political appointed person every month, and is now telling you, look, sincerely, we can't afford to pay. It insults Nigerians. Wait a minute, you are a governor in like Osun now, and you are saying, where will Osun get money to add to people? Because the first problem being created, repeatedly the president said, federal workers. You now go and start the rigmarole all over, because states will start their own issues. But a state governor will say, my state is not as rich as Lagos, we can't pay. But the governor will collect what Revenue Mobilization and Fiscal Commission recommended for Lagos governor to collect. Where is justice in what we think and we're saying? Look, it is better for NLC handling this because you can track that leadership. And something happened in Nigeria. God rest the soul of Mohbad. How long did it take for people to rally around? Young people. Majority of those young people are unemployed. They don't have any jobs readily available. We have created instruments readily available for people who want to face government. And you see, so it's better they discuss with NLC, I mean, there is a track. Than for somebody somewhere to go on social media and just tell them, look, Nigerian youths rise against these people. It's unfortunate, but let's just know there's direction that we must take now.
Let me come back to Comrade Saka at this moment in time. But let me bring us back a little bit. From your own perspective this morning, what do you make of President Bola Tinubu's speech? Before I try as much as possible to highlight some of the takeaways from his speech.
The 25,000?
That speech, the entire speech. What do you make of that speech?
You see, I try to pick tidbits. I don't listen to politicians.
So, okay, if you say, let's because I actually have about 10 takeaways here. Let's look at the painful reforms undertaken by the government. So that's the subsidy removal and foreign exchange unification.
That's wrong.
He said must be endured by all as it is temporary.
See, when you seek endurance,
yes,
from the generality of the people, you need to look for palliative that will be generally acceptable to people. They want us to face this pain, all of us. but they are cherry picking who they will give palliative to. That's not right. That's not correct. That's why we said, when you want to share palliative, you should look beyond party affiliation, political lineage, and stuff like that. And you should not say because somebody can afford something. You understand? Like some of us, if some people are looking for 3 square meter, I don't know whether 3 is actually square or not, but if they are looking for to hit 3 times a day, some of us are looking beyond eating. You understand? And we are facing this same problem together. You can give them food. You understand? Those who are looking for food, you can give them food. But you cannot give some of us that are looking beyond food. Like in our business, our business is collapsing every day because of your economic, I don't want to call it unintelligent. But you see, at this level, all those things, is easier said than done. It's a general cliche that everybody knows. Government say too much, and they do so little for the people. And you know, it is a fact now that Tinubu administration is saying too much. Is from the beginning till now. It's about what they want to do. We want to do this, we want to do that, and we didn't see anything to actually say they are doing something. You understand? So for me, whatever he's saying, you know, there was a time he had to do a national broadcast and stuff like that to speak to the people because there may be an uprising and stuff like that, considering the coup around the Horn of Africa. So, but for me, I don't know what they are doing. I don't buy into those speeches. I want to see what they are doing. You understand? He even talked about something that without they are giving 25,000 to workers without creating undue inflation. And you look at that. What undue inflation are we talking about? Our inflation is not even competing with any textbook related inflation at the moment. You understand? So whatever need to be done should be the one thing they are doing. Even if you are creating more inflation, let our people know. You know what creates problem in some of African countries is not even up to the problem that we are facing at the moment. But they give us resilience and they understand. But there is always a hit point. That's why you cannot even go forward again. And people are moving closer to that hit point. And that would be unfortunate.
Well, all right. Let me come to Mr. Fadahunsi. You know, in that speech as well, the president, even before now, there has been what the government has in plan to do. There's a time they came out with key points to do this, to cushion the effect of of the subsidy removal. This and this will be done. The powering of CNG, the rolling out of CNG powered buses, a reduction of these and that, the rice thing, the grain release, the 5 billion naira, in which 2 billion has been released. Of course, most states have confirmed the receipt of that 2 billion naira. But then part of what he said, yes, there was the introduction of 25,000 naira provisional wage increment to average low-grade workers for the next 6 months. You know, tax form, there has been the reform in the tax policy that has been embarked upon, putting people together, and of course, to waive VAT on diesel, at least for 6 months, to pay 75,000 naira to 15 million households, you know, at 35,000 naira per month from October to December. That has a timeline. You think all of these are too little, or, you know, that it doesn't come into the fold at all? Because you've even said in your introductory speech that that speech was an insult. So now, how do you justify that? That the government is making an effort, at least?
Too late, too little. I'm telling you this, I'm not a fan of Goodluck Jonathan. When Goodluck Jonathan came with the shopping thing, we all saw the buses. It was not coming by way of announcing that we will be doing. You get the drift.
Well, some will say that the situations are different.
You don't get the drift. He announced removal of subsidy, and almost immediately the states were seeing those buses. In Osun, those were the buses that were converted, I think, to school buses then. Do you get it? All the states had it. You see results of, okay, we have thought this through, and we have a master plan in place. But after 4 months, we are still hearing soon. How do you want people to trust you? That's number one. Number two is, when you were coming with this decision, you came with the mindset that, look, for real, permanently, we are done with the so-called subsidy. And then I said it, that you cannot have that if you still have the mindset of dollarizing the economy of the nation, because you don't have powers over that. You look for agriculture, you look for things like that to look at and face frontally. You did not do that. You still believe so much in the dollar, because it's only the rich. I'm saying this without sense of any contradiction. 90% of Nigerians have not held a note of any foreign currency before in their life. Fact. So why must you use that? Do we need dollar to grow food? We don't. The vegetation is enough to do that. So their focus is not on that. It's because their businesses too, personally and individually, is reliant on the foreign currency. And nations who thrive in their businesses do not make, I begin to wonder. That's why I said they removed events of history so that people will not understand and just leave us to be counting the dates. In Nigeria, you have travelers check. If you need foreign currency, you are traveling to one country, whether to do business or school or anything. When you get there, collect a check from CBN. People have dollars in their homes now. So they wait, let's study. When it goes up, we'll release some so that we can get the naira we'll use in the. And those who steal Nigeria's money, steal it in naira, they tell you, okay, go and collect something billion, and they will bring Ghana must go and take it to Bureau de Change and collect dollars. And now keep that at home. All this has been happening. Why not tell people, henceforth, we don't want anybody to hold that currency. If you have it, bring it, let the banks enter it into your records as having it. But we have lost that, and nobody's suggesting it. But why were we getting things right then? In 1980, most lecturers in the university earned between 1,000 and 2,000 naira, which was stronger than the dollar. All of a sudden, now, a professor that is earning 400,000 is like $400 in a month. When in places that own the dollar, you earn like $15 per hour, even as a junior worker. And if you work 40 hours in a week, multiply it by $15. So people are telling us, you say, okay, the oil, because we don't want them to steal it to countries around us, is why you must remove the fine. Then it should reflect in the lives of the people. I'm not seeing that happen.
Yes,
That's the
Mr. Fadahunsi, just to put out the specifics there, introduction of 25,000 naira provisional wage increment to low average grade workers for the next 6 months. That's one of the incentives. A waiver on VAT on diesel for 6 months to pay 75,000 naira to 50 million households at 35,000 naira per month from October to December. Are those incentives now?
Let me now tell you.
No,
let me tell you.
They count for something.
Let me tell you the statistics. Their own statistics too. Now, the guy that just left FIRS said he made 8 trillion in the last 8 months. 8 trillion in the last 8 months translates to like 1 trillion per month, right? But it's been there for 4 years. He did not talk about the last 3-something years. So he is counting between the penultimate days of Buhari and Tinubu days. If he could make, this man's record shows that the dogs, he factored dogs of 600,000 per month feeding. That's the kind of people you want to manage your economy, and you are telling me 25,000. Hello, the VAT that they are talking about, these are the people, that's how they are spending it. The so-called diesel thing. Who sees when you do all of these things reflecting the lives of the people? How many industries are actually producing in Nigeria today? These are the people you are talking about giving dollars to, that they want to go and do for business, and they collect and take it to Bureau de Change. Change it for us. I mean, we are not going outside to do any business if selling the dollar is okay. The truth is, they know the realities of what is on ground, but it's like them against the people. And what do they have? They can't do anything. The people are fed up. They're fed up. They can't be living bogus, ostentatious lives and be telling people to tighten their own belt. It doesn't work like that. Human society has been so streamlined by technology that people see what you guys do on a daily.
Yeah.
People want to celebrate birthday, they go to Dubai, they carry themselves and they are, you know, and these guys watch you. You close a university that the public people go to for 8 months, and all of you will go in cahoots and do graduation for your children in Harvard. And you think people are not, and the worst part and the most dangerous part is that it's the young people that are worst hit by the several years of mismanagement of the resources of our nation. And these people, you see, if you look at the Declaration of Independence and the rest of it, majority, the NLCs, the Awolowos, they were in their 30s. And you now discover that 40, 42-year-olds are in their parents' homes because they don't know where to start. So they say youth show, they will say youth at 40, that's unfair. We can't continue that one. That route is what we must walk away from. And tell our leaders, look, yes, we know you are not guilty, but have a change of heart because the people are fed up. And when the people are fed up, if you know the Levato song that says, look, Commander-in-Chief, what are you doing? Because what is happening, we see it. You people line your pockets. If people are not lining their pockets, how can you tell somebody to collect 25 million a month and that person will be now telling the citizens that we can't afford to pay 100,000? It's too much. Yes, no, he doesn't.
I think talking about specifics, 25,000 for federal workers.
Yeah.
Because it's about federal workers.
Now
and you know,
I think it's been increased to 35,000 to all cadre of workers now. Looking at what was stated in the front page of the Punch, wage award now for all cadres of workers. That's credited to Bajabi and Miladai.
All cadres of workers, states and federal.
No,
that's federal.
It's going to be federal.
It's going to be federal. So the implication is there is a divide and rule tactic there, because now the state workers will not be able to join federal workers in fighting legitimately now.
Yeah, but they said that part of his speech was that the provision of funds to states to provide relief packages against the impact of
Okay, let's use also as a case study now. You also said they cannot pay 25,000. You understand? People, the public, will agree with us because we already have backlog of money to pay to the same worker. So there is a divide and rule tactic there. And fat on diesel, you need to understand one thing. They said they remove subsidy on all those stuff. And fat, removing fat from it now is like a subsidy. You understand? So you are going back to the same thing that you said you are not doing again. You understand? By you know, they said it was an intervention on petrol in August.
Yes,
and,
subsidy.
And that is VAT on diesel in October. So there are a lot of inconsistency in the policy approach from this very particular government. We hope they get it right, because if they don't get it right, we'll be at the receiving end. You understand? That's why we pray. Nigeria, you know, we love to pray so much. We pray that they just get it right anyhow. You understand? Anyhow they want to do it, they just get it right for the good of our country. It's unfortunate we had in this.
Sorry, on that statistic, I mentioned it here. The next day after May 29, people who were going to work who went to work and back with 200 naira already needed 800 naira every day. Times 5, Monday to Friday, 800 times 5 is already 4,000. 4,000 times 4, 16,000 on transportation alone for June, July, August, September. Now, I mean, they've gone through all that stress. And immediately it happened, rice had gone up. Immediately it happened, tomatoes from 2,500 to 6,000. Immediately it happened, 6,000 naira to Lagos from 2,500. So add up all of that. You know, their life had been messed up. And you are now coming with 25. Where does it reflect? You see, there are things people should sit back and consider. That, unfortunately, it's sad, because there was a time in the history of Nigeria where when you mention Professor Oluwasomi, they say, those are the intellectuals supporting government in building policies in the Western region. When you mention names like Adeola Odutola, Baba, Oshowo, you knew people who were nobles, who were business people, who were intellectuals, who did their jobs. Baba Ajasin, before he became governor, was a school principal, a member of Action Group. People had things you can track them with and say, this is his line. But suddenly, we just saw business-minded people, and their business is just politics. When you ask people, what do you do for a living, and they say, I'm a politician, then you know. That's where their credits, that's where they are coming from. We don't have people who are doing politics as if we are meant to serve the people for their own good. And democracy will just change the definition. Government of some people, by some people, for some people. I mean, it's not working for everybody again, and that's where the question lies. We pray they get it right, but the Nigerian citizens have their back against the wall, and they are waiting and looking on NLC whether they'll be able. If NLC messes up too, then it's like other things.
I know we'll probably still have to talk about the NLC, and because if you look at some of the stories making the rounds from the dailies, they're saying today is decision day.
Yeah.
Well, we'll keep our fingers crossed. But by and large, let me still stay with Mr. Fadahunsi. Let's just move on here. Now, the rate at which unemployment and poverty is ravaging our country is on a high level, and it's really something that calls for worry. But the government is saying that they are increasing its investment in MSMEs.
Yeah.
Isn't that one, at least something to applaud about at this moment in time, if that can work out?
Okay, that's
if that should work out.
A good one. Okay, here in Oshu, as it happened in several states in Nigeria, all over Nigeria, there was that policy to say, okay, you have businesses, come, write your business plan, and see how you can access loan, make a deposit in the National Bank, or what's it called?
NESA.
And you pay some amount to go for a training of 2 weeks. I did. I was part of it. We did it. We got certification. We opened the account. And some people got money. From the same record of those activities, you have a business plan, you must have pictures of what you have on ground, what you are doing, whether a farm. And I discovered 90% of those who went for that same course, we had all the certificates and all. At least those who were in the same class with me for 2 weeks. 2 weeks of my time as a Nigerian citizen. And I discovered it was just like you used me as a pawn to achieve what you wanted. That was now what is being recorded by figures. They spent something billion naira on that, and that they're expecting to get the money back. Those who did not need the money, but the ones you gave it to. And so those ones were thinking it was just a takeaway. They are not saying they are sending people after them to go and I mean, we were not prepared for that. We just got it by a reason of how we were located or we are close to some people, and they now put their names and all and gave them. We are not allowing institutions to function. That's the same style we want to now still revert to. You are saying MSMEs that you want to fund it, but hello, we have people who are going around doing things for government. You can go and see the state. We have people who have farms, big farms, that could still do better if they had funding. You go get stats of them on ground. And then it is officers that will send in their reports. We identified 40 in Oshu, big time doing their business. And these are the things we found on ground. That's what should be used to fund. But not that you sit in the social office who is collating names of friends and stuff and adding up, and you now throw out funds and you expect results. You can't get it. Those industries are supposed to employ 2, 5, 6 people if they have that funding. Those are part of the things we put in our business plans there. That we'll have 10 workers, each will be earning this much. So you get. So these are things that can draw out people from the unemployment market, but those who had the genuine intentions did not get it.
All right.
So all these things on paper, you see, ideas have always been with us. If you go and look at, development plan, seeds, leads, needs, and the rest, all of them there, it's courage. If you put your ideas on all fours, it will be crawling. If you put them on their legs, standing, it can run, it can walk. It depends on which. If you put wings on an idea, it flies.
All right.
So we have not been proactive enough to know that we need wings to fly our ideas because we have stayed down for too long as a nation. Institutions are dysfunctional. With dysfunctional institutions, you can't get things right. 500 billion from CBN every month, where did it reflect? In the lives of Nigerians. It's unfortunate.
Comrade, let me come to your PPA now, the labor matter, really. The government are saying, last week they said, give us time. We are just new in government. A new minister of labor has just been appointed less than a month ago. That's Mr. Lalong, saying, we have good heart, we have good wishes. Please, let's keep meeting. But the labor, came out, gave a date, October 3rd. That would be tomorrow, to say if these and these and these are not attended to. In fact, there was a time, I think it was during the ASU imbroglio, that ASU came out and said, we are tired of memorandum of understanding. It should be memorandum of action. And I think that's the space in which the labor are in now. And now, to make the matters very solid, the NLC and the TUC are speaking with the same voice to say, October 3rd, if those grievances are not attended to properly, they'll be going on a strike. We've been hearing series of meetings have been holding, some, and it has not really been concrete. The two parties, either the government or the labor, have not come out with a, something positive for the people to hear. Tomorrow is almost here. Labor are not backing down. Where is this going to? Can we afford a strike of that magnitude? Because Nopenga is saying we are ready. That means there will be cut in the distribution of oil. The electricity workers are saying they are ready for that. Joesu, that's the health workers, are saying they are ready for that. So if all these parts, the airports will be grounded, they are calling the murders of all protests. Can we afford it at this time? And what will you be telling labor?
Well, the only language every government understands is strike and protest. There is no other alternative to it. We know the pressure will be on the people too, but it is always good to fight and wait for the people. Because at the end of the day, I would not be surprised if tonight they call off that indefinite strike. That's the style of labor. The pressure will be on everybody that there is going to be a strike tomorrow. And last minute they will say they are looking into the nitty-gritty of what they agree on, and they are going back to work. But for me, let there be strike. If there is a genuine agitation on a particular thing, and you see the argument of that person, that minister, to say we are just in government, it's just you guys came into government with a lot of noise, with a lot of some people go everywhere that is the president is over prepared for this, he has been his life ambition and stuff like that, and you are not telling us today, after you already put pressure on the people, to say you are just in government. No. It doesn't work that way. If you must create a problem within that duration of time, find a solution to it. It's not too much to ask. And people don't even ask for too much. What are they negotiating about? You are putting 25,000 on the table now. If you say, okay,
increase,
let us do minimum wage of 100,000 or 200,000. Because for me, 200,000 is the reality on the street. If you want a cleaner to be able to get 200,000 to live comfortably on that street, you understand? So if I'm not talking 200,000, you are doing 25,000, please you know that this can be resolved by putting this on the table, and you are not putting it, you are begging. Because every government will say, okay, let's beg workers not to go on strike. They will use MBI, use cakes and stuff like that to beg them not to go on strike. Knowing fully well that the only solution to this is just to do the right thing. The right thing is give them 200,000 minimum wage, and everybody will go back to whatever interest they want to talk about and sleep. You understand? So for me, the workers should be to even come out, because there is a secrecy around what they are negotiating to. We are only seeing that of the government, but the worker is not here to say this is what we are actually asking for. So, but whether it's a reality on the street or not, we don't even know what the worker are asking for today. And they must carry our people along, because not everybody are on salary. That's why the worker as a body must protect the interest of the public too. You understand? So say even within our negotiation, we are asking for this for the public. You understand? Must not be salary and wages of workers alone, because we are all involved in this mess. So that's just it.
Gentlemen, we'd like to thank you most sincerely, both of you, because time is not on our side, and there's still quite a whole lot to do. I wish Nigeria the very best, and we've seen the better part of days of Nigeria, but hopefully we'll still see more better days ahead. Mr. Lanre Fadahunsi, policy analyst, a comrade himself at all levels himself. We'd like to thank you for taking time out to be with us this morning.
I'm grateful. Let's just know that 200,000 is $200 for a month.
We'll get there. Comrade Waheed, Saka, a comrade, labor unionist, and I hope one of these days we'll have cause to call you back and then we'll do quite a whole lot of talking again.
God bless Nigeria.
Thank you so much for being there. That's what the show looks like for today, Monday, the second day in the month of October 2023. We'll be back again tomorrow, God willing, on another edition of the program. But we'd like to let you know that 9 o'clock there's going to be a multicast. You definitely get to join us from here and on our sister station, Rave 91.7 FM. We'll be talking quite a whole lot about independence and much more on the show. We'll definitely keep you in touch. If you'd like to follow us on all our social media handles, we are live. TUNDE IDOWU is my name. As Irresistible TD on X.
FEMI Ojo is my name. Thank you for joining us. We'll be back tomorrow. God bless Nigeria. Enjoy the rest of your day. Bye-bye.
Take a little